Hi, the Chesterfield Township Library has allowed me, Mr. Mike, another drawing video with you guys. Today I want to do one of my favorite books when I was growing up. We have Peter Pan here. So we have Peter Pan and Captain Hook. The shapes are similar, as we've always talked about, for triangles, circles, and rectangles. We have a big rectangle for his hat, very rectangular, angular face, circles for eyes, triangles for his beard. We have rectangles bent for swords, triangles for his knife, triangles for hair. Face is almost secular with a bit of a couple of angles for his cheeks, pointed ear for a triangle. We have half circles with triangles for feet, very square boots, half circles for his hook. And we're going to begin. To the side, I want to work with Captain Hook first since he's the biggest on the piece of paper. Instead of finding the center of my paper, I'm going to crawl over a bit and then up. I'm going to start where his hat and his head meet. So I'm going to start right just at an angle, a line approximately about 3 fingers long. And I'm going to half circle it at the top, so that kind of keeps his sweat from the hat. Right from the middle of that circle, I'm going to go down. It's dividing his face. I'm going to draw his face first and his hair second. So the face, from starting at the corner of my little mushroom shape, I'm going to go out a little bit, down a little bit, so he's got that angry brow. His nose is going to go out, down, back, and just curl the nose, kind of steps down. His chin is going to be very pointed, so on the middle of his nose, down, and then back to the line where I started. So that's his face. Now I can do his eye, so just one eye because his head is turned in profile. And I'm going to make an angry eyebrow, but because I want to make him a little thicker, I'm going to make him a rectangle so he's got a thicker eyebrow. His mustache is just going to curl up underneath his nose, and then his beard is just a little, finishes off that triangle. Next is angry face. Now he needs his hair. He's got big poofy hair. I want to at least curl up in the back. So at the bottom of my bottom of my line, I'm going to take a circle and follow back up to the half circle. So this is pretty much it for his face. I'm going to worry about the hat a little later. Underneath his chin, he's going to have his little tie. So underneath his chin, go down and back across for a little triangle. And his big coat is going to go down from where I left off, and then the neck down, and then follow back across. So he's got a big triangle for a shape for his coat. Now the coat's going to not have a whole lot of detail on it. You can add it if you want. I am going to cut the coat in half, and then I'm going to make his bandolier, or his sword will be held into his little bandolier across his chest at an angle. So now I want his sleeves. So I'm going to make rectangle for one sleeve, curl that corner up, so he's going to have a little half line that cuts at the corner. And then the other arm is going to be the same way, rectangle and sleeves. So that pretty much takes care of his coat. Now his hand's going to be fairly easy for the hook. Half circle, go out a little bit, and then half circle around, and then come back with the half circle for his hook. Doesn't have to be fancy. He doesn't need a fancy hook on his hand. I'm going to worry about the boots at this point. So now I'm going to do 2 sticks for boots. Looks like little skinny little legs, but for the boots, I'm just going to make a little rectangle. And his other little rectangle. So now he's got his buccaneer boots. They look like little feet, but his boots are going to be fairly large. So I'm going to go down for the heel, forward a little bit, little tiny triangle, down for the bottom of the shoe. And it's going to go up and touch the boot. So he's got this fancy looking boot, and even more fancy by adding a buckle, which will be just a pair of rectangles. So at the bottom of my other shoe on the other side, same format. Do the heel, bottom of the shoe, little tiny triangle, bottom of that boot there, turns up toward the shoe, and then make my 2 rectangles for a buckle. He looks pretty good, but I need a hat, and this big poofy hat for him. So up where his eyebrows are, up top of his head, I'm gonna go out. Back by his hair is going to go out, and I can connect it if I want, which is fine. But I'm going to go only so far, and then make a little V, a little triangle, and then I'm going to follow all the way back around to the bottom of the hat. So he's got this big poofy hat, make a little bit of trim on it, so all I'm going to do is follow my line I just made all the way around, so he's got a fancy hat. Now he's missing a hand. His hand I can make a big circle if I want. So I need to make a little fist, so I'm going to make a tiny little donut that fell over. Half circle forward, half circle forward, half circle forward. Tiny little hands. I'm just giving him a tiny little hand, but he needs a big sword. So his sword's going to have a nice little hilt on it. So half circle and a half circle. Just got a handle. I'm going to put a little circle at the bottom so it's got balance to it. Now a big blade. So I'm going to keep it close to him because I need to put Peter Pan up there. So I'm going to make this curve up, and then I'll connect the dots so he's got kind of a saber look. Now he's pretty much done. I'm going to not worry about him. I'm going to move on to Peter Pan. I'm going to move the paper just a little bit over. Peter Pan's going to be up in the upper corner. I've got plenty of room and space. I can put him flying because Peter Pan does fly. Now I'm going to start usually with the face, so I can make a big circle. So I'm going to make this chin and stop. So he's got the smiley face chin, but I left it open because what I want to do is make the ear. So where I left off, I started actually, triangle for the ear, and now I'm going to play connect the dots and finish off my circle. Now I can make big poofy hair, which I want to do, so I want to start where the ear connects the head, up and over, down, and it kind of follows back to the head, so he kind of falls over for his hair. His eyes I want fairly big. Now I have Captain Hook's is circular, so I'm going to make Peter Pan's probably a little more square, I think. So I'm going to have a couple of squares for eyes. I can make them any shape I want, and I'm going to make these eyebrows. I'm going to make them a little, he's happier, so I don't have to make him angry eyes. I'm going to, just angry eyebrows went down, I'm going to make his eyebrows go up. And now I want his little smile. He's going to have just a tiny smile to the side of his face. But I want that, instead of a smile wrinkle, I'm going to make a little smiley cheek. So he's going to have a bright cheek. Now the hat I can make, pointed, which is what I want to try to do. So I want to try to make him fluttering like a flying leaf. So his hat is going to go up. And I can keep going, but I'm going to leave a little gap because I make that little triangle on top of his head for the hat, because I want to make another almost oval for a feather, because I can stick it on back of his hat there. So he's got a little bit of a flare. Now his body's pretty easy. I'm going to start with the neck, down and down. Make a pointed tunic, so more triangles, and then a belt, so just a pair of lines for a little belt. So he's not really very fancy. His sleeves are the same as Captain Hook's. I'm going to just give him a pair of rectangles for sleeves, starting at the neck. So he's got a pair of sleeves of rectangles. Hands we've talked about before, so I want my wrist, and then I want my thumb first, and then fingers. 1, 2, 3 ovals for fingers. His other hand, like Captain Hook though, it's going to have a little fist. So I'm going to make my little wrist, and then I'll make 1 oval for the thumb, 1 oval for the finger, 1 oval for the finger, 1 oval for the finger. Connect them. So he's got 3 fingers and a thumb. He doesn't have the big blade like Captain Hook does, but he does have a little dagger, so I need a little hilt, so an oval that falls over and kind of stops right on top of the hand. And then his knife can be any shape I want. I'm going to make a couple of triangles to make a tiny little knife. Not really fair having a tiny knife versus Captain Hook, but he can fly. Now Peter Pan is missing his legs, so I'm going to make these legs really quick. From one on one side, one on the other. So I'm going to go down and down, skinny little leg, out and out, skinny little leg. Now at the end of my legs, I'm going to make these little, like an oval for one side, oval for the other. Now that's not his feet because those are pretty small. I want to make a big feet for Peter Pan. Those are just the rolled back cuffs on his boots. So now at 1 foot, I'm going to point 1 down and 1 up. So oval, kind of ends at a point and then back up. So that's a point down. Now heel, going up and back down again. So he looks pretty done. So I think we're good with this. I am going to wrap it up here. So get yourself to the library. Check out Stories of Peter Pan. You can make Peter Pan just as much Wendy by adding eyelashes if I'd like. Captain Hook is pretty crabby, so I'm going to leave him as he is. Go check out the books. I'm going to add some color to my picture, and we will end it there. I hope you guys had a good time. Take your time on this one. I know it's a lot, but I know you can do it. Have a great one. Bye.